All right, we got the Legacy semifinals here at the Dutch Magic Hub. If you want to join us, there's a link in the description. I'm not sure if there's still time to join, but you're always welcome to check. Edo sometimes starts the league like up to a week after the month starts, depending on how many people there are. So feel free to check. Maybe there's still some room and you're able to join, and who knows, maybe you'll be on coverage next month. In the meantime, we're going to start this semi-finals. We have on the left Vincent. He is the number 1 seed. He is playing a Blood Eldrazi deck. It's a mono red deck. It has some Stompy to it. It has some Eldrazi. The Blood is actually not referring to Blood Moon. It refers to Blood Sun, which is a really interesting card. But most importantly, it means your ancient tombs, your Eldrazi temples, and we see here City of Traders still actually work. So we'll have to see how that lines up against his opponent, who is the number 4 seed. We have Peter, who is playing a Omni-Tell list that is actually pretty interesting. There are no Grizzlebrands here. There are 3 Emrakuls, there are 2 Uros, 3 Ice Fangs, and a 1-off Venser. And then, of course, the full 4 Omniscience and things like Veil of Summer still. So it's just a standard blue-green Omni-Tell list. Nothing too special going on here. And we have a turn 2 Blood Sun coming out from Vincent. Now this means Peter has no more fetch lands. He is out of fetches. Unless he somehow answers the Blood Sun. Does he have an answer for it? Doesn't look like it. Maybe in the side. It doesn't look like it. No. So interesting. Peter is already just straight out of fetches. I guess fetches don't do anything. And now he is playing, let's see, 2 Flooded Strand, 4 Misties, 4 Vistas. So that's just 10 cards in your deck that don't do anything. That's scary. Now, we already saw a Ponder. We also see a Brainstorm coming out here. And yeah, Peter's just gonna have to find a way to brute force it here. Now, Peter also isn't playing any Ancient Tombs, and he has a 1-off City of Traders. So it's most likely gonna be just 3 lands and try to put Omniscience into play, or I think at the point you're casting the Show and Tell, you're happy just deploying anything, honestly. But we'll have to see. And meanwhile, Vincent is most likely gonna be able to put some kind of threat in. We could see some Potnot Seer here next turn. That would mean he sacrifices his... No, it doesn't. He doesn't have to sacrifice the City of Traders. Blood Sun says that all lands lose all abilities except mana abilities. That includes the sacrificing of the City of Traders. So Vincent is actually looking just straight up ramp here. Vincent is in a fantastic spot here. Now, Peter did manage to find at least the 2nd island, so that is something. He's most likely not going to have to be very dependent on green, like the Veil of Summer, not really going to do anything here. A Rebel Master from Vincent here is going to do a whole lot. That's definitely a threat. Peter knows it. Peter knows he's not casting that Uro anytime soon either. So, might as well force it, I guess. Yeah, this is not the spot you want to be in if you're Peter. It's a clean start from Vincent here. So what else kind of threats are we looking at from Vincent here? Now, at the high end, we have a one-off 6-mana Chandra. I believe that's the one that makes emblems. Yeah, the encounterable +2 give your opponent an emblem that burns him. That's also gonna be pretty good. It's kind of slow maybe against a combo deck like Peter, who did actually manage to find his third green. I mean, his third land, which is a tropical island, so he will be able to play Show and Tell. But Vincent now dropping Reality Smasher. It's like I'm gonna clock you. Vincent just doing what his deck wants to do. Force coming out, pitching Cunning Wish. Peter losing even more options. I think he was looking to maybe escape this turn if he has a second green. Now he is playing 3 green sources. It's the one-off tropical and then 2 snow-covered forests. Get Sylvan Library. Just trying to find what you're looking for, but Sylvan Library again. Oh, Sylvan Library not looking too good when your fetches don't actually work. You can't shuffle your library. And Vincent dropping a second Smasher. That's a clock. And this is really the power of Vincent's deck. Just play a Blood Sun, make you stumble, and then deploy some of the biggest threats you can in a mono red deck, which it seems is Rebel Master, 2 Reality Smashers, and a Bone Crusher. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, technically Peter still has a chance here, but he's gonna need to be fast. Like, he needs it right now. And even Emrakul here isn't really gonna do it. Unless he deploys Emrakul right now. Because let's see, if we go Show and Tell, put down Omniscience, cast Emrakul. Vincent can... No, actually, that wouldn't be enough. So Vincent right now has 5 lands and a Blood Sun, but that would leave him without mana to actually finish it that turn. He could put him to 1, but he'd need the actual kill. Vincent is not playing Gutshot. Gutshot is not the plan here. Vincent is playing Punishing Fire. We saw the Grove come out, started the match. And looks like Peter doesn't have it this turn, which means he is going to 1. That's pretty much a given. Looking at his deck, there's nothing he can do here. Yeah. doesn't have mana for Fencer. He could have Ice Fang Quaddle. That's pretty much the only thing here that I could actually give him something. We have another Blood Moon coming out from Vincent. Blood Moon also cantrips, which it's nice. It's definitely nice. And we have Peter going to 1 here, and now an Emrakul attack isn't going to be enough. Because now Vincent can just sack everything that isn't a creature and just kill him on the backswing. Unless he has 2 Emrakuls, I guess. Cunning Wish coming out here from Peter during Vincent's end step, I believe, right? Looking like it, at least. Echoing Truth? Did I miss that? I completely missed that. Yeah, Echoing Truth is a card in Peter's deck. Absolutely. Excuse me. Oh wait, what am I saying? You didn't hear that anyway. Never mind, nothing happened. So, Peter picks up Echoing Truth, which at this point doesn't do anything, right? Because the Bone Crusher kills you if you try to bounce it. The Smasher, I guess you could bounce the Smasher, but that in and of itself isn't enough, so you need Echoing Truth and Ice Fang Quaddle. Now, I think that's pretty much everything here that Peter needs. Fencer? Fencer returns a permanent to its owner's hand. Does that trigger the Bone Crusher Giants? Let me check real quick. No, that does not trigger the Bone Crusher Giant, but Peter will have to bounce the Reality Smasher anyway, and then chump block the Bone Crusher Giant. And it looks like that is what is happening here. So Peter lives another turn, but is still in a pretty bad spot. Vincent has plenty of permanents for any kind of Emrakul shenanigans. He's just able to put down the Reality Smasher a second time. And maybe I'm missing something. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not too familiar with Omni-Tell. I'm not sure what Peter's out might be here, and it seems like he doesn't have an out. Round 2. Both players again keeping 7. Peter starts off with a Ponder. Now, what kind of sideboard cards can we expect here? In the case of Peter, it's a little bit more difficult because he, of course, plays Cunning Wish. Now, it's possible that he cut a bit of his fat and just brought in whatever is relevant in the matchup. He is going to shuffle off that Ponder. Let's see what Peter has in his sideboard. Nothing really too exciting. He might think of a Return to Nature, though he could wish for it. So we'll have to see. We have a Spell Pierce. Yeah, and just generally not really things you want in this matchup, so... Then again, he's also playing 3 Veil of Summer, so I would imagine he'd just look to at least get those out. And we have a Chromok start from Vincent, an Ancient Tomb, and a Blood Sun. Just putting it straight out there. It's been fantastic game 1. Might as well try it as well game 2. A turn 1 cantrip that turns off all your opponent's fetches. That's pretty good. Now on Vincent's side, let's see. He will most likely bring him to Caracas. That's definitely... Well, he might not. I think it's correct to do, even though it's kind of a non-bow against Omniscience, but if Peter is forced to put the Emrakul in without the Omniscience, just show and tell, put an Emrakul in, then Caracas suddenly becomes really good. So I think it might still be correct to do here. It's also possible he brings in a set of Trinispheres too. I would imagine slowing down those cantrips, turning off those Force of Will should also be pretty good here, but we'll have to see what Vincent decided to do here. Have a turn 2 Reality Smasher. Tell me that isn't incredibly scary, no matter what you're playing. Especially when you're just down half your mana base. Despite that, it seems Peter does have 3 lands just show and tell immediately on the field. Vincent not playing any counter spells, so if Peter dies, Peter dies. Now the question is that an Omniscience, and did Vincent bring in Caracas? Doesn't look like Vincent has anything to put in, or at least opts not to? Or no, he's maybe just thinking about it. Let's not jump the gun here. Yeah, he's thinking about it. Let's see what happens. A second Blood Sun, and that is an Omniscience from Peter. So if he has the Emrakul, or if he can draw into the Emrakul, looks like he doesn't have it yet, but he still has cantrips. And there's the Emrakul. And that's game 2. And we have Vincent start us off for game 3 on, unfortunately, a mull to 5. But he has proven to have plenty of lockdown potential against Peter, and Peter has proven that even with the prison elements coming out from Vincent, he is able to win, so we'll have to see how this goes. Now, if I know Vincent's deck, it's able to mulligan pretty well. Like it's not ideal, but it mulligans. It definitely mulligans. It's somewhat of a strange mana base, but I mean we saw how explosive it can be during the first game. I believe a while back when we were doing competitive, Vincent actually managed to top 8 a Dutch Open with it. I believe there were about 70 players-ish, something like that. So, like, the deck can definitely do things. Now, a card I actually missed in Vincent's sideboard is 2 copies of Dead and Gone. The dead side is not too relevant, it's just a 1 mana shock that targets only creatures, but the Gone side for 2 and a red, return target creature to its owner's hand. That might be something Vincent is thinking about or has thought about, and we'll have to see if an effect like that becomes relevant. I think the Dead and Gone might be better than I'm pretty sure it's better than the Caracas. No, not necessarily. Caracas, of course, gives you multiple uses, whereas Dead and Gone also helps take care of a Ice Fang Quaddle. There is a Caracas. Now, the fact that Vincent is playing the Caracas here leads me to believe that he really needs the mana, which is not a great sign here. Blood Sun coming out, which means Caracas doesn't even work like that, unfortunately. So the Caracas is now just a basic plains, and it's worse than that. It's a legendary non-basic plains. That's not really the best card here. But we'll have to see. We have Sylvan Library coming out here for Peter. I mean, being resolved here for Peter. And he's thinking about it. Now, since Vincent has had a slow start, he could decide to go a bit more aggressive and just take a bunch of damage, which it seems he is willing to do here. Take 1 extra card. And Uro coming out again. Get him a bit of life. Draw him a card. So I think that Uro was mostly free off the library. So it's kind of a net positive, as we have Smasher coming out here from Vincent. That's definitely gonna put some pressure on Peter here. I think they might be forgetting the fact that Uro gains life. Peter, jij staat op 17, toch? Ja, en toen heb je een Euro gespeeld. Geen probleem. Yeah, Peter forgot. That's fine. It happens. Now, unlike the games at the boardroom, these are recorded live, so I am actually able to tell the players that something is afoot. As we saw a couple of days ago when Ricardo versus our other anonymous Omni-Tell player, they resolved an intuition and actually just exiled the Emrakul, which would have actually sped up that game significantly. But of course, that is just me casting a recording, so there's nothing I could do there. Now, we have Force pitching Venser from Peter here, getting rid of the Reality Smasher. Which is definitely going to buy him some time here. But if I was Peter, I would hope to be able to just do something here. Because if you're spinning your tires, a deck like Vincent's is just gonna find threat, play threat, just keep going face. Interesting deck. Maybe not the most decisions you could make. That can definitely be an advantage, though. Just give yourself less opportunity to mess up. Give yourself less pressure, because like at a large tournament, when you're playing 8 rounds and you're playing 8 rounds, you have to think for those 8 rounds. Then it can kind of be rough, you know. But if you give yourself a deck that's a bit easier, you can give yourself some breathing room to conserve your energy for the later matches. Now we have a Thought-Knot Seer coming out here from Vincent. In response, Peter has decided to cast Brainstorm. Most likely gonna try and hide his, or at least one show and tell. Maybe Omniscience or an Emrakul. Just not give Vincent a chance to interrupt it. We see double show and tell, Echoing Truth, a snow-covered forest, and a misty rainforest. The misty rainforest is probably not the best card here. The Echoing Truth might be useful, but it depends on what Vincent is actually looking at doing during his next turns. And taking a show and tell is most likely not the thing that's happening here. You could take one, try to get the other one. Maybe if Vincent has a second Thought-Knot Seer, he could think of taking show and tell now, hoping he has another turn and taking the other show and tell. It looks like that is what is happening. Which is a risky play, for sure. It is a risky play for sure. Let's see if it pays off. Wow, Peter took the full Sylvan Library hit there. That's bad news, Bears. We have Show and Tell coming down now. We still have 2 mana open. Looks like Show and Tell is gonna resolve. Vincent also has a permanent to put in. We have Omniscience coming out from Peter. We have Thought-Knot Seer coming out from Vincent. He did have the second Thought-Knot Seer. That is what he was thinking of. And now, if Peter only has the one threat, then Vincent actually manages to at least buy himself some time. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Peter gonna intuition in response. He's thinking about it. So yeah, he did have the Emrakul. Now, this is interesting. The Echoing Truth, while good, is not the thing you want to be taking. You need to take the Emrakul. So the Emrakul goes to exile. You don't get it back. Peter could intuition for a different threat, but he's only playing 3 Emrakul. So he is most definitely not getting Emrakul. He's getting whatever the third card is that he decides to pick here. Now, that third card, what are his options? Venser is already in exile. I think the best option is probably going to be Uro. And yeah, he has no other. He might have the one-off Elish Norn that is in his sideboard if he decided to board it in. Now, I'm not sure why he would. It could definitely be relevant. It just completely shuts down Rebel Master. It makes your Eldrazi just so much smaller. So it's actually not the worst card he could bring in. Yeah, Elish Norton might actually be the best thing he could intuition for here. If not, he could still bring in Uro, but he couldn't play Uro this turn. But he would at least still be alive, except if Vincent has Reality Smasher. Now, Vincent has already played one. That one is in the graveyard. So if it's Uro, Peter is dead to exactly Reality Smasher. He's thinking about it. I'm expecting to see 2 Emrakul and whatever he wants to add to his hand. That is an Uro. Alright, so not sure if Peter did side in the Elish Norn, but even if he did, it's not the thing he got here. He got Uro. I'm thinking, what else could he possibly die to here? Fiery Confluence is also a card Vincent plays. That could be very dangerous as well. Let's see. Stomp is 1 mana short. Punishing Fire is 1 mana short. So I just missed what was picked here, but like I cannot imagine a world where Vincent would say, "You can have a free Emrakul." I cannot imagine a world where that happens. So I'm just gonna go on the assumption that Peter's now holding an Uro. Yeah. So that Uro is gonna pad his life total up to 11. Yes, that's right. You heard it right. That thing goes up to 11. I forget what that movie's called, but I'm sure there's people in the comments that will know exactly what I'm talking about. They'll tell me, how could you not remember that name, you uncultured swine? I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. But, no. Okay, so it seems Peter is not dead to Reality Smasher. That's good. That's a good start. Oh, right, he still has the Echoing Truth. Yeah, that works too. I completely forgot about that. So the Smashers now gonna give Peter 2 cards. Vincent is not gonna be happy about that. I cannot imagine he's happy with that. But it is what it is, you know? And now we pray that in whatever kind of draws Peter might come up with, he doesn't actually find the way to one of his 2 remaining Emrakuls. But we'll have to see. A hardcast force coming out for the Thought Not Seer. Cast, of course, for free because of omniscience, which means you don't actually lose cards in your hand. We have a Chrome Mox coming out from Vincent, dropping the 2nd Reality Smasher. Peter is going to brainstorm in response. Question becomes, does Peter actually find something? This brainstorm is going to be able to protect any kind of threat he finds. Reveals Spell Pierce Show and Tell. Does Vincent take the show? Yeah, Vincent takes the Show and Tell. Interesting. I would have thought you would have taken the Spell Pierce here, but to be fair, Spell Pierce isn't really doing anything at this point, but then again, neither is Show and Tell. I don't know. Let me know if you agree with that, or because I think at the end of the day, it's not really that big of a deal. Vincent, of course, doesn't have an answer for an omniscience. There's not one that's in play already. We have Preordained coming out from Peter here. He's just gonna blow as many cantrips as he can, I would imagine. Because the moment that Emrakul hits his hand, this game is over. We have Ponder coming out. That Ponder does not shuffle. That is not a shuffle Ponder. That is a Icefang Coatl. Now, Ponder not shuffling means it could just be Coatl into Preordain. That would probably be fine. You can guarantee at least one of your cards to just be out of your deck. Peter is gonna bring the Uro back. Did he... Wait, he was at 11... Was he at 9? What's going on here? Dat doesn't add up. Klein vraagje tussendoor. Ik keek even weg toen je... toen ik even wegkeek stond je op 11. Nu heb je een euro gecast, sta je op 9. Waar ben je... Ja, dan ga je naar 7, toch? Ja, dan zou je op 10 staan, toch? Just checking, ga verder. Okay, yeah, what happened was he went to 7 off of the Sylvan Library and then added only 2 life for the Uro. So... And we have Intuition coming out again from Peter here. Now, if he still has both of his Emrakuls in his deck, he is going to be able to just force Vincent to pick whatever he wants. Intuition, just picking any 3 cards. I imagine Intuition at this point is just a straight up demonic tutor, except you know what it is. Okay, Peter instead revealing 3 Cunning Wish. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it's. I mean, it's deck thinning. Cunning Wish most likely going to be able to find shared summons here. Yeah, that is shared summons. Which means we have at least 1 Emrakul coming in. And I don't see any way for Vincent out of this. He did have the Elish Norn. Damn it. He did have the Elish Norn. Alright. That's gonna be the semifinals for Peter here, and we will see him in the finals.